Hello and welcome to another edition of Feel This Pain. I'm Ken McKim, and tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about something called myelomalacia. It's a little hard to pronounce, but it's even harder to live with. And basically, myelomalacia is a generic term that refers to the softening of the tissues that surround the spinal cord. Think of it this way: anything that can affect the blood flow to the area, so it restricts the blood supply in some way, or any injury that can cause excessive bleeding around the spinal cord, can affect the tissues, can cause those tissues to become soft and the spinal cord to be injured. What are we talking about? Well, so many things can bring this about. Some things that can affect the blood supply or cause bleeding are things like disc compression, herniated discs, any kind of back injury, spinal stenosis. Heck, even surgery can cause myelomalacia. Now, as you might expect, anything having to do with the spinal cord results in symptoms that are, well, not fun. Make no mistake, this is not a condition to be trifled with. We're talking about symptoms like tremors, and we're talking about sometimes Parkinson-level tremors here. Tingling in your arms, legs, head, and face, sensation like you touched an electric fence. Your motor skills can be affected. Forgetfulness, slurred speech, trouble finding the right words to say, headaches, low back pain, short episodes of dizziness and vertigo. You can get these full body aches that just seem to get worse the more active that you are. Back pain that feels like it's going to explode out of your sternum, sudden numbness in your hands, tingling sensations in your tongue and face when you bend over. I mean, the list just goes on and on. As you might expect, symptoms can vary from person to person. There are people who have reported actual paralysis of limbs as a result of this condition. And if it spreads too far up the spinal cord, which is known as ascending myelomalacia, well, it can start to affect very important systems like respiratory function. Yes, that can be as bad as it sounds. So again, this is a serious condition. Now, some of you who might have seen another video I did on syringomyelia might be thinking that these are the same thing. They're not. They are actually two separate conditions, but insult to injury, you can have both of them at the same time. How unfair is that? Well, very. You know what struck me as odd? When I was researching this, it was very hard to find any information at all. Normally, when I pick a topic for this show, I just type the name of whatever it is into Google, and I get more information than I know really what to do with. Not so with myelomalacia. There seem to be very few doctors that are familiar with the condition as well. If it's frustrating for me being able to find out information about this to do a video on it, can you imagine how frustrating it must be for people who have the condition to find someone who can actually treat them, who knows what it is, or even acknowledges that it's a real thing? And trust me, I've heard plenty of stories about doctors who refuse to acknowledge that it even exists. Now, as you might expect, there are things you can do. Certainly, surgery can be an option and is an option for a lot of people that suffer with this condition. There are medications you can take. I've heard of things like Palexia, Percocet, Lorcet, Valium. Muscle relaxers are particularly effective for a lot of people. There's something called baclofen I've heard of, lorazepam, oxycodone. But again, medications can have their own side effects. Surgeries are not 100% fixed by any stretch of the imagination. And I want you to really think about that. People with not just myelomalacia, but anybody who lives with a chronic illness is always in a perpetual state of risk-reward assessment. As painful as their daily life might be, they always have to weigh the pain they're familiar with against what might happen when they try a new treatment, whether it's surgery or medication. Because like it or not, there is always that risk. that trying something new could potentially make it worse. And so every person living with a chronic illness has to weigh that in their mind and decide for them what's the better option. Better the devil you know, or better to take the chance. And it's a gamble. It's always a risk. So again, I beg of you, if you know someone who has this condition, who has myelomalacia, or any chronic illness, please extend to them your compassion. They certainly can use it. They certainly deserve it for what they go through, what they live with every single day. If you happen to suffer from myelomalacia, there is an amazing support group, and I cannot thank them enough because, like I said, it was hard to find information about this condition. If it had not been for them being very generous, opening up their support group to me, answering my questions, I don't think I would have been able to do, well, I could have done the video, but it wouldn't have been very good. So I'm going to post the link to that support group in the video description window down below. I encourage you to reach out to them. They're a great group of people, and they're willing to share all of their experiences and their information with you. So again, I'll put that down at the bottom there. And unfortunately, that is all the time we have for this week. But if you have any questions for me, please send them to me to ken@don'tpunishpain.com. You can also follow me over there on Twitter @don'tpunishpain. My website's don'tpunishpain.com. And thank you for spending your time with me today and learning a little bit more about what the chronically ill go through. And that's it. Until next time, I'm Ken McKim. You take care.